Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another of Quizical's Guides to with me, Qwizical. And today we are looking at triple word squares. Now, we all know what triple word squares are, but why am I doing a video on them? Specifically, why am I doing a guide to them? Well, one of the things that used to happen a lot when I used to play in a lower division is that I would typically take the triples as soon as they were open. Now, if you ever watch a higher rated player play or one of the best players in the world play, you'll see that triples tend to get left open quite a bit more. And I'm going to try and explain why that is. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. But we're going to look at two examples and we're going to see why. So the first example is this rack here. Our opponent has just opened a triple with Friskily. And we're sitting with this rack that's kind of a bit unpleasant. So we could take the triple with something like Fern, but we're leaving FLPP on our rack. And if you've watched one of my previous guides in this playlist, you will know that this is a really terrible leave, and you should really consider not leaving yourself with these letters. But you want to remove the chance of your opponent playing on the triple because they can get a ton of points. But in this scenario, you are essentially preventing yourself from scoring more points on the next turn because you're not allowing yourself the chance to get rid of some of the worst letters on your rack. You're getting rid of 3 of the best letters on your rack to score 21 points, which is not really a lot of points, considering what else you can do with this rack on this board. But also, your aim kind of every rack is to kind of have a bonus to be able to play it, or just generally score a lot of points. And your leave just doesn't allow you to do that. You're really opening yourself up to basically nothing. So in this case, we'd ideally say, ignore that triple. The triple, okay, you get triple your word score, but in this case the triple is almost a distraction to your best move, and often there is a better move on this board and you just have to find it, but the distraction of the triple is so tempting that it really just isn't worth taking the triple. So a word like Piper down here, you're leaving FLN, but you're scoring 33 points. And, 33 points versus 21 is considerably a lot. It's 12 points difference, and your rack leave is slightly better. It's not the best, but it's slightly better. And you're leaving 3 consonants instead of 4, so you've got that one extra chance to pick a vowel. And, of course, the triple is still left open, but your worst case scenario, if you think about it, is your opponent getting a 9 timer here, and with the F in that position, it's not the most dangerous one. In all likelihood, your opponent is probably going to score between 21 and 30 points anyway, and considering you're getting 33 and you should be able to score pretty much 25 plus next turn, you're not really losing anything, and that's what's important to remember. You don't have to take the best scoring places all the time, because it just will be some kind of detriment to what you're trying to do, and you really don't want to have that loss from your score, from your rack, just because you want to stop your opponent from maximising their own potential. So if we look at the second example I have here, our opponent has just opened a triple with the play of dog. Now, your first thought here could be to immediately take this triple with something like bar. In fact, that's the really only thing you can play there. But your first thought may be to play bar. It gets 27 points. But why would you do that? Why would you... you're taking a spot that really your opponent is only ever going to play 2 tiles in. And the worst that they could probably end up doing there is using the H and then an A, and that will get 4 more points. It really isn't worth taking the spot when there could be something so much better on the board. So something like Cob here, you're setting up your S, you're setting up Suck for the next turn, SQQ. But you're also scoring 39 points, and you're scoring a lot of points. So compare that to Bar, which scores 27, you're scoring again 12 points more, you're getting rid of an extra tile, your leave is better, you've also set up for the next move. You're just doing a lot more with your play than you would do just playing 2 tiles. Now, of course, you can take a spot if you're fishing, say. That would be considered alright. Because you're fishing, you're not really closing down the board, but you're also able to score at the same time. And it's always important to think about the situation that you're in. But also, like I said, what's the worst case scenario and what's likely to be played there. If you're not fishing, playing 2 tiles is a really bad idea because you want more turnover to get, say, any blanks that are in the bag or any power tiles or any E's. And generally when you play a lot of tiles, you will typically score more. So that's important. We've also got like other moves here like Quack, which may open up another triple, but of course only a 2-letter word plays parallel to it, but any 4-letter word coming down could potentially score 60 plus points if your opponent has the right letters. And that's only if they have the right letters. They may not always have the right letters, but it's always something to think about, but the likelihood is they won't always have the best letters. So, in summary, big point number 1, it's a triple word square, it triples your score. It's a lot of points, but don't get dragged into that allure of the triple. It's there to distract you, it's there to basically tell you that you've missed a bonus or you're missing a much better play. And potentially, that triple word square could be a detriment to your rack leave. It could mean that maybe you're leaving 4 consonants and then you maybe draw 2 consonants with your pickup, and then now you've got to sort out your rack instead of scoring another 25-30 points next turn. And sometimes it's not worth taking that triple if you're going to ruin your rack like that. Point number 3, what is the worst case scenario for the triple? Of course, we're always thinking, well, my opponent could have a 9 timer, my opponent could have the X, my opponent could have whatever. But the likelihood is they're just not going to have that. And you just have to think, right, well, even if they get my worst case scenario for that area, I'm scoring X amount in my spot anyway, and I'm going to have my next turn anyway. So maybe it's not a bad thing to let them have that spot if that's what they want to do. And the 4th point, is there a better move elsewhere? Like that old cliche in Scrabble, when you see a move, look for a better one. In all likelihood, the triple may not be the best place to play your word. So keep looking at the board and don't get drawn in by that triple. It may be, like my example showed you, that, you know, a play elsewhere on the board will easily score 30 points, or will get rid of better tiles, or some of those worst tiles on your rack and leave you with a better leave. It just might happen like that, but you've just got to think more and maybe think longer, maybe use your board vision and maybe see what else is possible. So thank you for watching my video on triple word squares. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you learnt something, and join me next time for more of Qwizical's guides.